Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing my top 14 books of 2014, and these are not necessarily books that were released in 2014, but they are books that I read in 2014 that made it on my top 14 list. So yeah, there's quite a bit to show you, so I'm just going to get right into it. I'm not going to go too much in depth into what the book is about, because there's a lot to show, but I'll leave a link to the Goodreads page so you can read the synopsis. And I also have reviews of a couple of these, and I will leave those linked down below as well. So the first one that I read earlier this year, I made it onto my list, is Juliet Immortal by Stacey J. And this is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, where Romeo and Juliet are enemies and Romeo is trying to kill Juliet. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It was so interesting to see this different take on Romeo and Juliet's story. And I love what it says on the top of the cover here. It says, "The greatest love story ever told is a lie." And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I will leave the synopsis to the Goodreads page down below. And then, the next book that I have to show you guys is a dystopian book. I did a review on this. I'll leave that down below as well. But that is Branded by Abby Kettner and Missy Kalikaki. And this is the first book in a new dystopian series called the Sinners series. And this one involves the 7 deadly sins. So yeah. The next one that I have to show you guys, I also have a review of it. And I read this earlier during the year. During a read-along with Book Explosion, and that is Rubble Pile by Rachel Hawkins, and this is the first book in another fantasy series, and I loved this book. It was funny, it was action-packed, and I just really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to get the next book in this series, and the cover is so pretty. So, and the next book that I have to show you guys, this one is one of my favorite books. Well, all of these are my favorite books, but this one, oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it and devoured it. And this is The Evolution of Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. And this is the second book in the Dyer trilogy. I did read The Retribution of Dyer, the last book, and I absolutely loved that one as well. But this is definitely, the second book is definitely by far my favorite in the series, and so good. And this is sort of like a paranormal psychological thriller, where the main character, she was in this accident, and so that killed her best friend and her boyfriend, and so now she's seeing things, but she's not sure if what she's seeing is real or if she's like sort of losing her mind because of the trauma of that accident. So yeah, this series is so good, you guys. Definitely, if you haven't read it, definitely read it. It's great. Then the next book is, and I read this, I think in the summer. I did a buddy read with Janelle from Miss J. Rod Reads, and we read The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. And this is an sort of a post-apocalyptic alien take over the world type of book. Like I said, I'll leave the Goodreads page linked down below so you can get a better idea of what these books are. But this was so amazing. I read The Infinite Sea. It was okay. I didn't love it quite as much as The Fifth Wave, but I'm still excited for the third book. So, yeah. And you can kind of see a theme going on with these books here, you guys. Like, if you've been on my channel before, you know that I absolutely love fantasy and dystopian and paranormal. So, a lot of these books are fantasy and dystopian and paranormal. So, the next one that I'm going to show you is also a fantasy book. And it's the first in the new series. And that is The Young Elites by Marie Lu. And this one I read a couple months back, and I absolutely loved it. And Marie Lu wrote the Legend series, and I haven't read those yet, but I really like her writing, and I definitely want to check those out as well. So, the next book I'm going to show you guys, I actually don't have the physical book to show you because I lent it out to a friend of mine. She has my book, but that is Insurgent by Veronica Roth. It's the second book in the Divergent series. I read the Divergent trilogy. I read them all this year at the beginning of the year before the movie came out. And I marathoned through them, and I loved them. Even the last book, which I know a lot of people didn't like, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. But definitely my favorite book in the series is the second one, Insurgent. So, yeah. Then, of course, no top 14 book list can be complete without Cassandra Clare. So I've got Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare to show you guys. And this, oh my gosh, I love this book so much. It was the perfect conclusion to the trilogy, I believe. And I have not read City of Heavenly Fire yet. So that is the only reason why it's not on my list, on this list, because I have not read it yet. But it'll probably be on my 2015 list. So, but yes, Clockwork Princess, absolutely loved it. And then the next book, I also don't have the physical copy to show you guys because I read this one on my iPad, and that's Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And this is the book that got me out of my reading slump when I was in a reading slump earlier this year. And I really loved it. I loved the characters in this book. They were amazing. And yes. And this book is really character driven. It's not much that happens in the book to the end, but the characters are so amazing that I couldn't help but want to continue reading and finding out more about them. So, yeah, Obsidian's on my list. And then the next one is The Program by Suzanne Young. I have a series review of these books as well, which I will link down below. And this is yet another dystopian book where the suicide rate among teens has become an epidemic, and you have to, if you show signs of sadness, they send you to the program to sort of like fix you, which yeah, it does not sound good because it's not good. So definitely don't want to end up in the program. But this was a really great book. It's a duology, so there's only 2 books. But I really enjoyed this one. And then my next one, I also do not have the physical copy to show you because I got it from the library. I read it, and it's a library book, so I had to return it. But that is Hexed by Michelle Kreis. And that is another fantasy book about this girl who finds out that she's a witch. So yeah, I enjoyed that one as well. Then the last 3 that I'm going to talk about are my top 3 books of 2014. These are the top 3 favorite books. The rest, I didn't put them in any particular order, but these last 3, I put them as my top 3. So starting with number 3 is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I finished this last week and I had to include it on this list because it was just so good. And this is a 1920s paranormal murder mystery. And so it's a huge chunker of a book. It took me a while to get through, but it was so amazing and I loved it. And I cannot wait for the second book, Lair of Dreams, that comes out later on this year. I talked about it in my top 15 most anticipated books video. So check out that video as well if you get a chance. So yeah. And then the next book, number 2 on my list. I've mentioned this book before. This is like one of my favorite books that I read this year. Obviously, it's number 2 on the list. And that is Uninvited by Sophie Jordan. And this is another dystopian book where you find out there's this kill gene, and so pretty much anyone who has this gene, they predict is going to be a killer, and the main character in the book finds out she has this gene. So yeah, you guys, this book is so good. I devoured it in one day. I loved this book. So yes. And it was hard to pick which one was number 2 and number 1 because I kept going back and forth. But number 1, I actually don't have the physical book to show you because it's another one that I read on my iPad. But that is Numinous by Jasmine Angel. And this, I think, was my favorite book of 2014. I have reviews of that one. I will leave a link to the review down below. But it is a fantasy book. It is about mermaids, but these mermaids are a kick, but they are awesome, and I loved it, and I just love the series. I finished the second book recently. The second book sort of reads like a dystopian, like a mermaid dystopian type. So good. You mix dystopian and mermaids and you're gonna get an awesome book, at least in my opinion. So yeah, these are my top 14 picks of 2014. Let me know what your top picks are. If you guys have a video, top 14 list video, leave a link down below so I can see what your choices for 2014 are. So yeah, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye!